Transform your life. 3 miraculous days of divine healing for prosperity, love, and sacred energy. In the heart of the picturesque village of Hopewell, with its rolling green hills and quaint cottages, stood a chapel known for its divine wonders. Here, every stone held a whisper of miracles, a promise that faith could indeed move mountains. This was the sacred ground where Mary, a devoted mother, would soon embark on a journey that would shake the very foundations of her beliefs. The morning sun spilled golden light across the cobblestone paths as Mary clasped her hands in fervent prayer. "Lord, I come before you," she breathed, her voice trembling with emotion. "In 3 days, let me witness your glory." Her heart pounded, embracing the celestial energy that lingered in the chapel. She needed hope, a glimmer of solace, as her beloved son Thomas lay fighting against a relentless illness. On the first day, as Mary fasted and prayed, an unexpected warmth enveloped her. The air shimmered, and suddenly, ethereal figures appeared, swirling in delicate and graceful patterns. "You are not alone." Their whispers danced around her like a gentle breeze. Spiritual energy crackled through the chapel, igniting a fire of renewed faith within her. Outside the chapel, villagers murmured in awe, sensing the divine presence drawing them closer. Mary's heart sang amidst her trials. Yet, doubts crept into the edges of her mind. Would her prayers fall silent? What if this is just a fleeting moment, she pondered. The whispers of skepticism from her family echoed in her thoughts. But as she prayed with fervor, the energy intensified, urging her to press on. As day 2 unfolded, Mary found herself wrestling with the shadows of doubt. The winds outside howled, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. Neighbors spoke in hushed tones, questioning her fervor and urging her to prepare for the worst. But with each rising sun, she re-entered that sacred space, the chapel filled with soft light, surrendering every fear to God. In that divine light, Mary felt a surge of healing energy bolt through her like lightning. She poured out her heart, pleading, invoking the blessing of her patron saint of healing. Then came the call to action. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. On the 3rd day, as the sun sank, casting a warm glow, Mary stood at the altar, her spirit heavy yet hungry for divine intervention. A tension hung in the air, thick as fog. Suddenly, the clouds outside erupted in a dazzling display of light, illuminating the chapel. A presence swept through the congregation, and gasps of awe filled the air as radiant figures emerged, bathing them in a heavenly warmth. In that moment, Mary felt a powerful connection, the weight of despair lifting like smoke before a fire. Just as hope surged within her, a soft stirring pulled her focus. Thomas's breathing deepened, and the village witnessed the miraculous. Faith had shown its power in a way they had prayed for. But questions lingered. A divine mystery still shrouded the answers. What did this encounter truly mean for Mary, for Thomas, for their village? Would the miracle continue to unfold, binding them in a way they never dreamed? As the flickering aura surrounded them, Mary swallowed hard, knowing their journey of faith was only beginning, leading them toward the light of the unknown. With the village of Hopewell basking in the afterglow of the miraculous event, Mary felt the weight of uncertainty continue to press upon her heart. It was as if the warmth of that divine light from the altar had sparked something holy within her, yet shadows still loomed. What paths lay ahead? As dawn broke on the 4th day, Mary knelt once more at the altar, her spirit yearning for clarity. The chapel, still thick with joy from the night before, echoed with her whispered prayers. "Lord, guide me. Help me to understand this gift of life, this miracle for Thomas." Her words trembled with both fear and faith, each syllable a plea that reached toward the heavens. Outside, the world moved on. The villagers, drawn to the chapel, exchanged stories of hope and healing with awe. They spoke of the ethereal presence that had filled the air, But amidst their excitement, a sense of unease began to ripple through the community. Whispers of doubt edged their way back into conversations, and Mary sensed that not all who had witnessed the miracle were convinced. Mary could feel their eyes upon her, some filled with admiration, others with skepticism. It was a tremendous weight to bear, yet through it all, a singular thought pierced her heart. If there is any truth in this healing, how could she not share it? She was driven by both love for Thomas and the insatiable call to uplift those around her. That afternoon, Mary stepped outside the chapel into the sunlight, greeted by the beauty of vibrant flowers and the soothing sound of birdsong. She felt compelled to reach out. As she gathered the villagers, her voice trembled but grew steadier. "My beloved community," she began, "I know many of you feel doubt. I too have felt that rain of uncertainty. Yet, we have witnessed something magnificent. A light that has touched Thomas and filled our hearts. How can we let fear extinguish what has been ignited in us?" Her eyes glimmered with tears, but they were no longer held back. They flowed abundantly, reflections of the faith boiling within her. Let us look at this not just as a miracle for Thomas, but as a call for all of us to believe, to hope, to heal together. The villagers responded with murmurs of agreement, yet still, the hesitancy lingered in the air. Old Mr. Thompson raised a gnarled hand. "Mary, what if it's not permanent? What if we're setting ourselves up for more pain?" His question struck Mary like a pebble thrown into a calm pond. Ripples of doubt spread through the crowd, but she chose to stand firm. And what if it is? What if this is the beginning of a new dawn, not just for Thomas but for all of us? A flicker of hope ignited in some hearts. She could see it. The light of possibility shone brighter, scattering the fog of skepticism. But she knew that true belief would take more than a moment's inspiration. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, tracing hues of orange and purple across the horizon, Mary offered a prayer in solidarity with her neighbors. Let this love draw us closer, bind our hearts, and perhaps weave a tapestry of divine wonder among us. That night, as she lay with Thomas, she whispered softly, "Sweet child, I believe in your miracle, and I believe in us. We will face whatever comes, together." Even as she spoke those words, heavy clouds gathered on the horizon. Somewhere in the distance, a storm brewed, distant yet foreboding. What tempest might await them? Would their newly ignited faith withstand the storm to come? Undeniably, their journey was only starting, but the true test loomed just ahead. Mary could feel it in her bones. What revelations awaited them in the chaos of clouds, and how would they stand against it? Morning light streamed through the chapel windows, dappling the floor with warmth. Mary awoke with a sense of anticipation thick in the air. The storm, both outer and inner, had not fully descended yet, but she knew its arrival was close. Gathering her composure, Mary left Thomas to sleep and moved to the altar. "Lord," she breathed, "grant me strength for what lies ahead." Her heart pulsed with a rhythm of hope and anxiety. She felt a presence around her, and for a moment, it was as if the light itself whispered truths only she could hear. "Help me to grasp your plan, to be a beacon for those who wander in doubt." As the villagers began to gather, a sense of community surrounded her, charging the atmosphere with possibility. They came with hope, yes, but also with lingering uncertainty. Mary saw familiar faces, etched with concern and yearning, and it struck her that their faith tethered closely to her own. Among them, young Grace held her mother's hand tightly. The child's eyes sparkled with innocence, a pure reflection of the faith Mary desperately hoped would spread. She knelt before the little girl, leaning down until her face was inches from Grace's. "What do you see when you think of Thomas's miracle?" "Light," Grace whispered, her voice a soft song. "And love, it feels like sunshine." A murmur of agreement rose from nearby villagers, and Mary felt a rush of warmth flood through her. "Yes," she exclaimed, "it's precisely that. A sunbeam piercing through doubt. We have to embrace that light, together." But just as encouragement began to swell, dark clouds rolled across the horizon, threatening to dim the brightness they were nurturing. An older woman stepped forth, her voice trembling. "Mary, what if a storm comes? What if it takes our hope away?" Her hands quivered as she clutched her shawl, fear written all over her face. In that moment, Mary felt a mix of compassion and fire. What if the storm is allowed to unleash its fury only to reveal the rainbow that follows? Her words hung in the air, seeking to catch and uplift hearts. Faith doesn't always shield us from storms. Sometimes it teaches us to dance in the rain. A collective silence swept over them, the villagers' eyes fixed upon Mary, as if willing her words to take root in their hearts. Then, she drew in a deep breath and continued, "Let us pray together for clarity, for strength, and for the guidance to face whatever comes our way." United, they bowed their heads, and Mary's voice rose like a soft echo. "Heavenly Father, as your children, grant us the courage to believe, the unity to stand, and the wisdom to embrace this gift of life. May our hearts remain open, even amidst the storm." As echoes of their Amen reverberated within the chapel walls, a low rumble rolled across the heavens, sending a cold shiver down Mary's spine. The storm would soon break. It was coming, but so too was the chance for transformation. That night, as darkness enveloped the village, winds tore at the trees outside. Yet within the chapel, a quiet strength filled the air. Mary felt buoyed by a calm she hadn't known before. In the face of chaos, it dawned on her. Whatever happened would not define them. They would stand together, roots intertwined, against the tempest. But as the first droplets of rain tapped against the stained glass, uncertainty fluttered at the edges of her faith. Would they weather this storm? Would their hope remain unshaken? In that flicker of thought, she realized that the true miracle might not lie in their endurance through the storm, but in the love that surrounded them. What wonders awaited them in the leap of faith? As she peered outside at the brewing storm, Mary whispered to herself, "In every ending is a new beginning." What would dawn bring them? Would their united hearts shield them from the wrath of the clouds? The thunder groaned, heavy and deep, as rain began to dance against the roof of the chapel. Each drop felt like a heartbeat in a world that seemed to hold its breath. Mary stood still and resolute, navigating the trepidation within her spirit. She could feel the tension woven into the fabric of the night, both frightening and exhilarating. "Hold on to hope, dear hearts," she murmured, her gaze drifting to the villagers gathered close. Their faces, illuminated by candlelight, displayed a mosaic of faith and fear. The flickering flames reflected the volatile emotions at play, glimmers of determination battling shadows of hesitation. Old Mr. Emerson, with skin weathered by seasons of toil, raised his voice, cutting through the crackling storm's fury. "Mary, what if our prayers are not enough? What if the storm takes more than we can give?" His eyes, usually full of wisdom, flickered with dread. "But what if?" Mary leaned closer, her heart racing. "The storm is a test, a chance for us to find strength we didn't know we had, to discover the miracles hidden within our trust." Her words spun like the wind outside, gaining momentum. The chapel held a collective sigh as a response. Hopeful energy crackled in the air. Young Grace, still nestled by her mother, chimed in, "But aren't we always stronger together?" Her innocence radiated, pushing against the weight of uncertainty. "Yes, yes," Mary replied, clapping her hands together, sending ripples of excitement through the crowd. Perhaps we were meant to be here, together, in this moment, to bear witness, not just to struggle, but to the grace that allows us to rise time and time again. As she spoke, Mary felt a shift inside the chapel, as if the walls themselves were leaning in closer, eager to embrace the truth. Let every clap of thunder remind us that our unity gives us power, more than the storm ever could. Suddenly, a bright flash of lightning illuminated the room, momentarily blinding. Mary trembled, a surge of adrenaline igniting her spirit. Some villagers gasped, while others clutched hands, but no one turned away from the light. "And let that light be a beacon. A reminder," she declared, feeling the heat of fervor coursing through her veins. "In darkness and doubt, we will be the lanterns shining bright." As she spoke, an inexplicable peace washed over her, radiating outward into the hearts gathered around her. The fear began to melt, replaced by a burgeoning trust, thick like the air after a storm. They were in this together, rooted in faith, tangled amidst doubts, yet willing to stay and fight. Mary continued, her voice now a steady current, flowing over the storm's fury. As we navigate this tempest, look around you. Notice those who stand beside you. Let their courage wrap around you like the warmest cloak. In that moment, she heard whispers scattered through the audience, fragile yet powerful. Words of affirmation rose from the corners of the room, encouraging each other, sending ripples of strength born from vulnerability. The storm outside intensified, but within the chapel something beautiful began to bloom. Faith surged like a wellspring, and joy intertwined with trust, creating a tapestry of resilience. And then, as if orchestrated by a divine hand, the rain began to soften. The winds quieted. In the hush, a profound stillness enveloped them, like the calm that settles after a tempest. "Tomorrow," Mary breathed, her eyes shining with divine sparks, "we will awaken to a fresh start. A new opportunity for healing and hope will blossom from this night." But as the gathered hearts settled into reflection, a question lingered in the air, a divine mystery hanging like a fragile thread. What transformations awaited them beyond dawn? With quiet anxiety, Mary turned her gaze to the window, believing that just beyond the horizon lay the answers they yearned for. Would the dawn carry forth the promises of their prayers? Would it unleash a flood of blessings, or leave them standing in the wake of uncertainty? The first light of dawn crept quietly into the chapel, gently stretching its golden rays across worn pews and whispered prayers. Mary, still kneeling, lingered in the quiet of contemplation, her heart beating in sync with a new rhythm set by the morning glow. A scent of fresh earth entered through the open window, a delicate promise of renewal that danced on the air. As she lifted her eyes, the villagers began to stir around her. Old Mr. Emerson yawned, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, his face now softened by the light. "Did the storm fight us through the night, or did we fight the storm?" He grinned, the shadows of fear receding into the morning light. "Both, I think," Mary replied, a smile fluttering across her face as she basked in the warmth of companionship. "But we faced it together. That courage has brought us here today, stronger than we were yesterday." Her words flowed, warm and soothing like the sun embracing the earth. Young Grace stood, her eyes sparkling with innocence. "What does today hold for us, Mary?" she asked, her voice full of untamed curiosity. The room quieted, all eager to hear. "Today," Mary began, her own heart fluttering with the joy of possibility. "Today is a gift. It's our chance to reclaim what we thought lost, to plant seeds of hope into the soil of our lives, and nourish them with faith." Each word struck the air like the ringing of a bell, resounding in the hearts present. They leaned in, breaths held, waiting for her to unveil the mystery she hinted at. As if answering a silent prayer, the doors of the chapel creaked open, revealing a vibrant morning sprinkled with dew upon the grass. A chorus of birds welcomed them, reminding all that life continued anew. "Let's step outside," Mary encouraged, a sense of urgency filling her tone, "and witness the beauty of what awaits us. We shall not only claim this day, we shall fill it with purpose." The villagers followed, hearts swelling with excitement, leaving behind the shadows of last night's storm. Once outside, they formed a circle under the wide-open sky. The world felt different, alive with potential. Mary looked at their faces, each radiating a piece of divine energy. "Together, we will share our hopes, our dreams, and yes, even our fears. For sharing is an important part of healing." One by one, they began to speak. Mr. Emerson voiced his desire for peace in his family, while Grace wished for the courage to stand up for her beliefs. Murmurs of longing echoed, a longing for love, understanding, and community. "Oh, how beautiful it is," Mary exclaimed, her voice soaring higher. "These dreams, they interlace like threads into a grand tapestry of our lives. What we speak into the world carries power. It breathes life into the strife we face." The air shimmered with the warmth of connection, each shared word a gentle touch woven together with their spirits. Mary stood in the middle, awash in the warm light of communion. But then, as a breeze whispered by, a thought swept over her. "What if," she pondered aloud, We have not only come to share our hearts, but to awaken something deeper within us. What if there is a divine plan afoot that we have yet to fathom? Silence hung momentarily, heavy with anticipation. The villagers exchanged glances, their collective hearts swelling at the thought of divine intervention. Mary knew she had struck a chord. Perhaps it is time we not only expect the blessings, but actively seek them. Will you dare to stand with me in faith? The energy within the circle shifted, an electric resonance of trust. Together, they were united, not merely by shared strife, but now they stood as hopeful seekers. And as they joined hands, a deeper question brewed within them. What miraculous transformation awaited them if they chose to walk boldly into this new day? In that moment, the dawn no longer seemed just an end to darkness. It sparkled with a promise, one that might lead them to the greatest blessings they had ever known. The sun now stood high, casting its brilliant light upon them, inviting them further into the mystery of a day filled with possibility. As the villagers held hands under the open sky, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves around them, as if nature itself were applauding their unity. Mary's heart swelled with excitement. She could feel a tangible shift in the air, like electricity before a storm. "Let's breathe in this moment," she urged, inhaling deeply. "Let every breath fill us with courage and grace." The group followed suit, their chests rising and falling in a rhythmic harmony. As they exhaled, it felt as though they were casting away old fears, making room for fresh hopes. Looking around at the beloved faces, she spoke softly. "Each of you carries a spark. Together, our sparks can ignite a fire of change." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the circle, and with it a few shy smiles blossomed like wildflowers breaking through cracks in the ground. But in the depths of the atmosphere, Mary sensed a deeper stirring, one that called for vulnerability. "What if," she proposed cautiously, "we face those fears we so eagerly wish to shed? What if we share not only our dreams, but also our struggles?" This thought suspended in the air, creating a moment of stillness. Caught between eagerness and hesitation, the villagers exchanged glances. Finally, it was Grace again who broke the silence. "I want to be brave, but I've always been scared of speaking in front of everyone." Her admission hung there, raw and tender, bringing forth a mixture of compassion and encouragement. Old Mr. Emerson nodded knowingly. "Ah, Grace, isn't it our doubts that make us stronger?" "Yes," Mary chimed in, emboldened by the honesty unfolding. "When we shed light on our vulnerabilities, we discover the strength woven within them. Share, dear friends, this is where healing begins." As if kindled by her words, the circle opened up. Each participant took turns, speaking of secret fears, unspoken dreams, and the burdens they carried. The confessions were met with warmth, hands squeezing tightly in solidarity, the energy in their hearts pulsating across the circle. The cool breeze swirled around them, whispering encouragement. It felt as if the heavens were listening. With every story shared, old wounds began to heal. The vulnerability transformed into strength, the air rich with understanding and compassion. Suddenly, Mary's heart quickened. "What if we offered each other prayers?" she said, the thought bubbling forth. "It's as if we would be setting our intentions into a divine pot, to be stewed together and transformed." A chorus of eager yeses rippled through the group. They began to pray for one another, each word a testament to the strength of their communal spirit. Mr. Emerson prayed for strength, Grace for faith, another villager for courage. The atmosphere thickened with the sacred energy, each prayer weaving a thread of belonging. As they finished, hearts were lighter, faces brighter. "Look at what we've created together," Mary exclaimed, her eyes shining. "We are here, not just as individuals, but as a tapestry of love and hope." And just as the sun reached its zenith, casting down a golden glow, a revelation struck Mary. But what if this is just the beginning? What if we are not merely seeking blessings for ourselves? A hush fell over the group again, caught in the powerful question. What if our prayers could extend beyond this circle? What if they could touch every corner of our village? Our yearning for healing, love, and peace could ripple out into the world. The idea lingered between them, sparking flickers of excitement. What divine connection awaited if they dared to reach beyond their circle, unified in purpose? As the villagers pondered this profound thought, the world seemed to shimmer with endless possibilities, a dawn not just of a new day, but of a new legacy yet to be born. The air buzzed with anticipation as the villagers absorbed Mary's words. It was as if a wave of divine inspiration had washed over them, leaving no heart untouched. The golden sunlight bathed them in warmth, a heavenly embrace that seemed to whisper, "Yes, you are meant for greater things." Mary, feeling the weight of the moment, took a deep breath. "Let's take a step further, shall we?" she encouraged, her eyes glistening. "What if we visualized our village, wrapped in our prayers? Could we imagine healing flowing through its streets, its homes filled with hope?" A ripple of energy spread as the villagers began to envision their beloved village. Each person painted a vibrant picture in their mind. Flowers blooming in the gardens, laughter echoing through the air, children playing without fear, and families united in love. Mary could see the imaginations igniting, each spark of inspiration weaving a tapestry of peace. "I can feel it!" Grace exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "It's like we're already planting seeds of change." "Yes, and together we can water those seeds with our love and intentions," Mary replied, the vision embracing them all. "As we focus our hearts, let's let our voices rise up in a chorus of blessings over our village." The villagers joined hands again, their eyes closing in unison. With each word spoken aloud, it felt as if they were sending waves of energy flowing outwards, penetrating the very core of their community. "We pray for love to wrap around every heart," echoed one, while another added, "May understanding blossom in every family." The prayers melded together, becoming a powerful anthem ushered by the wind. As they spoke, a sudden stillness fell upon them. They heard whispers echoing through the trees, a welcome response from nature itself. The leaves fluttered like clapping hands, rejoicing in their unity. The villagers opened their eyes, astonished by the harmony surrounding them. "Did you hear that?" someone whispered, a sense of wonder spreading through the circle. Mary felt a chill race down her spine. "It's as if the earth is responding," she said softly, overwhelmed with gratitude. In that moment, a shared knowing filled the space. It was not just the villagers praying, but the very fabric of creation joining in their efforts. "What if we carried this sacred energy with us wherever we go?" Mr. Emerson suggested, his voice steady yet filled with reverence. "Our prayers could become a living force." "Yes," Mary beamed. "Let us be beacons of hope. Each act of kindness, each moment of love, an extension of what we've created here." The villagers began to nod, hearts swelling with purpose. They spoke of their commitments, to be actively engaged in their village, to uplift those around them, and to spread the light. The energy was palpable. They were becoming a movement, an unstoppable force of divine potential. As they stepped away from the circle later, an inexplicable feeling settled in their hearts, like a flame igniting a vast landscape. But deep down, amidst the warmth, a question lingered like a whispered promise. What awaited them when they transformed their prayers into action? What doors would this unity unlock? Mary looked into the horizon, the sun beginning to dip low, casting hues of amber and rose across the sky. With every beat of her heart, she knew this was only the beginning of their journey together. And as night fell, a question hung in the air, inviting further exploration. What if their growing light could attract others, neighbors distant and lost, waiting for their community to offer them the hope they yearned for? A new chapter beckoned, yet its path remained shrouded in divine mystery. The next morning, a soft mist clung to the earth, enshrouding the village in a blanket of quiet reflection. Mary awoke with the sun, its gentle rays spilling through her window, warm and inviting. Turning toward the light, she felt a renewed sense of purpose swelling within her heart. She knew today marked the beginning of something extraordinary. As she stepped outside, the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, echoing the vibrant visions from the night before. The village was stirring to life. Mary could hear the sounds of rustling leaves, distant laughter, and the rhythmic clatter of pans from the kitchens. Each sound was an expression of hope, and it resonated deeply within her soul. She wandered through the streets, greeting familiar faces. "Good morning," she called out, her voice carrying a melody of joy. The villagers returned her greeting with bright smiles, their eyes sparkling with the flicker of shared dreams. It was as though the atmosphere itself had shifted, filled with newfound energy. "Have you felt it?" A neighbor named Clara approached her. "There's a different spirit among us today." Clara's voice was laced with excitement, and Mary nodded, her heart quickening in response. "Yes, it's as if we are awakening to our purpose," Mary replied, brushing her hand against the wildflowers blooming along the path. Clara's brow furrowed slightly as she glanced around. "But what if the changes we make today aren't enough?" she asked subtly, uncertainty creeping in like the mist around them. Mary paused, her spirit momentarily caught by the challenge. "What if," she began, her voice steady, "we focus not on what isn't, rather let us celebrate what can be. Our hearts are filled with light. Together, we can transform our fears into faith." Encouraged by Mary's words, Clara began to light up with renewed confidence. "You're right. We have to believe our prayers will take root." They continued to walk through the village, gathering others along the way, hearts intertwining. The shared energy was undeniable. Each person they met seemed to shine brighter as they discussed their dreams, their prayers transforming into plans. "Let's create a day of kindness," a voice called from the crowd. "We'll reach out to every corner of our community." Enthusiasm rippled through them. Mary felt a warmth envelop her, the echo of their prayers from the night before thrusting energy into motion. The villagers began to emerge in clusters, organizing efforts to help those in need. Each action was offered as a tender prayer, providing meals for the elderly, delivering warm clothing to those without, sharing flowers with neighbors to brighten their day. The interactions were more than mere gestures. They helped weave a garment of love around the community. With every act, Mary gasped at the power of their collective spirit. She witnessed families coming together in ways she hadn't thought possible. Long-standing disputes began to dissolve, compassion igniting where walls had once stood firm. As dusk began to wrap the village once more in soft hues, a sense of accomplishment settled on the villagers. Their hearts now beat as one, pulsing with hope that vibrated through the air. Yet amidst the jubilation, Mary sensed an undercurrent of yearning. "What more can we do?" she pondered aloud, her voice slightly trembling. The villagers paused in reverent silence, waiting. What unknown blessings awaited them in the days to come when they fully embraced their mission of love and unity? Mary felt the question echo through her being, signaling that their journey was only beginning. In the distance, shadows flickered, hinting at new opportunities, mysteries yet to unfold. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant shades of orange and purple, Mary felt a stirring in her heart. The day's acts of kindness were not just moments. They were seeds sown in soil enriched by love and faith. An excitement coursed through her, igniting a desire to continue the journey. "Tonight, let us gather," Mary suggested, her voice rising above the whispers of the wind. "Let's share our stories, our hopes. Let's bring forth the visions that the Lord has implanted in our hearts." The response was an immediate wave of murmurs and nods of agreement. The villagers convened in the small square, the heart of their community. Lanterns flickered to life, casting a warm glow on eager faces. Each villager settled onto benches and the ground, forming a circle bound by friendship and faith. As Mary stood to speak, her heart swelled with gratitude. Tonight is about listening to each other and listening to what God has for us. This is where we can nurture our dreams. The first to speak was Clara. "Today was beautiful. As we fed the elderly, I saw their eyes light up. It was like sharing joy incarnate. But what happens when the sun sets? How do we sustain this feeling?" Her eyes searched the faces around her, filled with concern. Mary approached Clara and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Even in darkness, our light shines brightest. We can sustain this by nurturing each other and giving ourselves to the community. We are not alone." Then, Samuel, an older villager with a gentle but firm voice, chimed in. "Mary, the fear of returning to the mundane hums in every heart, yet our faith can uproot that fear." His words resonated with those present, stirring faint smiles and murmured amens. You are right, Samuel, Mary replied, her voice warm but firm. Faith is the unseen thread that ties us together. With it, we can weather any storm. The mountain that looms before us is merely an opportunity for divine revelation. The gathering buzzed with energy. Ideas flowed like living water, sharing gifts, setting up a community prayer group every week, and creating a celebration of life festival to spring forth from their unity. Yet amidst the laughter and dreams, a shadow moved in the outskirts of the gathering. A stranger appeared, a tall figure dressed in a simple cloak. He observed quietly, his presence unannounced, yet somehow commanding. Mary could not help but feel drawn to him, a magnetic pull that seemed to linger in the air. Suddenly, the chatter dimmed, and a hush fell over the gathering as the stranger stepped into the circle. What you do here is beautiful, his voice rich and warm. But do you understand the true power of love? His eyes sparkled with a knowing glimmer, hinting at deeper mysteries. As everyone looked on in silence, Mary's heart raced. The stranger's words resonated deeply, echoing the yearning within her. We seek to transform our village to become vessels of love and light, she replied, her voice steady. The stranger smiled slightly. Love transcends fear, yet it can also challenge you. Are you willing to embrace the coming trials for the sake of your purpose? Mary's breath caught. Was this a divine challenge or an opportunity for awakening? Around her, the villagers stirred, drawn into the enigma of this moment. Together, we will face anything that comes our way. Right, everyone? She proclaimed, her faith lifting them. The stranger nodded approvingly. A faint smile played on his lips. Then prepare, for when the dawn breaks, so too shall the first trials emerge. What lies ahead may deepen your connection or shake your foundations. As he stepped back, the murmurs raised once more, eyes wide with anticipation. What trials awaited them on the morrow? The dawn would surely bring questions they had yet to fathom. As the dawn of the next day broke over the village of Hopewell, Mary awakened with a sense of electric anticipation. The golden rays filtered through her window, illuminating her room as if calling her to action. She felt it deep within her spirit, a promise of transformation, a divine invitation to witness the profound power of faith when put to the test. She hurried to the chapel, her heart pounding in rhythm with the weight of what lay ahead. As she walked, the air buzzed with energy shared among the villagers. Mary could sense the excitement written across their faces as they gathered in the open air, ready to embrace the day. The stranger's words echoed in her mind. Embrace the coming trials. What would they face? Would they hold strong? She breathed in deeply, collecting the courage that had sparked within her heart. Good morning, everyone, Mary called, her voice piercing through the gentle morning mist. The villagers turned to her, their smiles shining brighter than the sun climbing higher in the sky. It was a blessing to feel their warmth and unity. We stand on the brink of a new beginning, Mary declared, and the collective energy rose around her, a sacred current of shared purpose. But not everyone felt the same. Old Mr. Thompson stepped forward, concern etched in his brow. Mary, he began softly, we cannot ignore the fear that has crept in. What if this is all temporary? What before has brought us joy has also let us down? Mary's heart sank momentarily. It was a valid concern, one they all bore deep within. She looked around at the faces, the worry mixed with hope intricately entwined. Fear and faith can coexist, she replied, steadying herself with each word. Our task is to plant seeds of love and nurture them together, consciously choosing to stand in the light. Through our trials, we can learn to deepen our roots, to strengthen our community. As she spoke, the villagers exchanged glances, contemplating her words. The atmosphere shifted. Uncertainty met with determination. Then, Grace stepped forward, her tiny hand raised in innocence. If we work together, then we can take away the fears and fill it with love. Her voice held a conviction that wrapped around each heart present. Yes, Mary echoed, feeling the shift. Every act of kindness we've performed has already woven threads of hope. Let's remember how far we've come. Just as energy surged through the crowd, dark clouds gathered on the horizon, casting a shadow over the sun. A low rumble of thunder rolled through the air, and the villagers shared glances of trepidation. "Keep faith close," Mary shouted, a wave of divine strength washing over her. "The storm might test us, but we are rooted in love, and through trials we will grow even stronger." As the wind whipped around them, a sudden downpour began, drenching the gathered villagers. Gasps filled the air, but Mary stood unwavering, arms raised toward the heavens. "Together!" she bellowed, her voice rising with all the fervor she could muster. "We will not be shaken!" In that moment, the rain transformed from a force of nature into a cleansing embrace. Laughter echoed amidst the storm, a joyous response to the trials they faced together. The villagers began to dance, twirling and weaving through the rain, finding solace in unity. Witnessing their resilience reignite her spirit, Mary felt an overwhelming peace wash over her. This storm was their crucible, a sacred test indeed. The rain poured hard, yet so did the love that bound them. Hours passed, and once the storm had passed, they stood together, soaked but unyielding. A brilliant rainbow arched across the sky, vibrant and glowing against the storm's remnants. "I see it," Clara cried, her eyes wide with wonder. "The promise! It's a sign for us." "Those who endure the storms will always find their rainbows," Mary whispered, her soul glowing with gratitude. "We will emerge stronger together, renewed by every challenge we face." As the sun broke through the clouds, illuminating their faces with golden light, the villagers felt an unbreakable bond. Their trial endured, their faith ignited. The day held more than just the hardship. It signified a transformation, a collective rising above the storms of doubt. Throngs of villagers moved forward, uniting in purpose. They envisioned a future not constrained by uncertainty, but blossoming with love, laughter, and hope. Together they would weave the fabric of their community with faith, declaring to their world, "See what we can accomplish through love." Mary smiled, her heart overflowing. Today isn't just an ending, it's the beginning of something beautifully pure and radiant. The spirit of unity pulsed through them, each heartbeat a testament to their faith. And as they rejoiced, declaring their dreams aloud, there was no longer a question of what awaited them. In that moment, hope reigned supreme. It was clear. They had harnessed the power of love, and it would guide them into every new dawn. To the village of Hopewell, this was not merely a material existence. It was a spiritual awakening, forever tethered to their divine purpose. This was only the start of their transformative journey. Now is the time for you to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories unfolding just like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread our message. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this magnificent manifestation. This is the moment to show your support, and only true servants of God understand the importance of uplifting this message.